Hello guys, Della304 here. Today I'm going to be making a little update on my 2016 custom build because quite a few things have happened since I made the original build video. So, as some of you may know, a while ago I started out with this Core 2 quad machine, and I was planning on using it to play GTA 5, but of course it wasn't going to happen. You know, the hardware was nowhere near powerful enough to go ahead and run games like that. So I decided to go with my friend Chris to Fry's, and I found a 4690K motherboard combo, so I decided to get that, and then I kind of just used some other spare parts, most of which that Chris gave me because he wasn't using, and well, some of them were originally mine. He gave me back my original Corsair 300R case, so I used that for a little bit, and then he gave me his old Raid Max power supply because he currently has my TX650M. So yeah, at that point I actually did have a computer build, and on a pretty cheap budget actually. And then of course from there I bought a GTX 970, an EVGA version, so that made the computer a little bit better. It had 8 gigs of RAM at the time, but just now I've had a couple things happen. So as some of you may know, I did have a Galaxy S7, but Chris needed a phone and I wasn't really using it that much, and so he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. He offered me a sum of money plus a Core i7 4790K, and so I did indeed go through with that deal. But along the way, because of unforeseen fitment issues with the Corsair H100i cooler, which he also gave me back, I ended up getting my old case back too. So this is my old Corsair Carbide 600T, or no, it's a Graphite, sorry, Corsair Graphite 600T. I bought this case a couple years ago for my 2014 custom build, and I just now am getting it back. And of course I did also buy the H100i myself. Most of these parts were originally mine. So anyway, yeah, so here is the new and improved 2016 custom build. It's pretty much a beast now. I did get some more RAM from Tyler while I was down in Alabama, so yeah, this thing is pretty crazy now. But you know, obviously you may be wondering what this big gaping hole is. Chris had a couple optical drives in here and he couldn't find these little mesh covers for these, but that's okay because I went on Corsair.com and bought 2 more of these for $2 a piece. So those should be here tomorrow to fix that big hole, which is kind of ugly. But anyway, yeah, of course, I mean, the case is pretty standard stuff. I mean, if you have a 600T or have been around one, you would know. But I really like this case because, well, first of all, I mean, I just like the way it looks. I think it's pretty neat. And then the door panels are so much nicer, and it has so much more space on the sides for like cable management and stuff than the 300R did. But anyway, yeah, of course, here we have our fan controller, which I actually have the H100i fans hooked up to. Of course, I'm doing a pull, or a push configuration rather. So yeah, of course we have some USBs, although one of them is busted because I actually broke one a long time ago when I had this case. The only thing I don't really like about this case is it doesn't have native USB 3, but this case is also from 2010, so that's kind of expected. So let's go ahead and power the computer on and I'll continue talking about stuff. So of course up front we have a 230mm fan. So this is the stock one that came with Corsair with the you know, the case itself. So that's kind of neat. But anyway, let's just go ahead and stick that back in there. There's a filter. I'll go ahead. As you can see, the fans are kind of loud. I mean, I don't really care about that, but yeah, anyway. So let's go ahead and go in here. Let's take the side panel off. Let's have a look inside the actual system itself. So as you can see, I'll just go ahead and read off the specs now. Of course, under this Corsair H100i water block, we actually have a Core i7 4790K. The chip's actually overclocked to 4.6 gigahertz at 1.255 volts. It gets pretty hot under IBT. It topped out, well, I mean, it was hovering around 91, 92 Celsius under Intel burn test, but that's a pretty unrealistic benchmark, and it has never hit anything close to that in normal use. So I'm not really concerned with that. People really have their own preferences on what they consider hot is anyway. Moving on, we have 32 gigs of RAM here. We have one 8 gig stick that I bought with it, and then 24 gigs of Munchkin Redline. Turns out one of the sticks Tyler gave me was actually bad, but yeah, I still have 32 gigs of RAM total, so that's pretty insane. Of course, down here we have our EVGA GeForce GTX 970. Pretty decent card there. I mean, Yeah, I paid a lot of money for it, and it runs GTA 5 beautifully. So, yeah, of course, this is the ACX 2.0 cooler version. Pretty nice card overall. And then, of course, we have a Gigabyte GA Z97X SLI motherboard. So, pretty decent board for what it is. I mean, it's nothing like super special, but it is Z97, so I'm on the latest stuff here. Down here we have my Samsung 840 EVO SSD and a 1TB Seagate Barracuda that was sent to me actually by a friend, so that's cool. And then of course here's that Raid Max power supply, which is still going strong. I mean, yeah, of course I don't like Raid Max, and I think most of the stuff they make is junk, but this power supply is about 6 years old, so if it was going to fail, it probably would have a long time ago. Anyway, there's the actual build. I think it looks pretty nice, all things said and done. Go ahead and stick the side panel back on, if I can. It's one thing I don't really like about this case. Side panel is kind of difficult to put on. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the software side of things here. So I have, I'm using my old keyboard actually with this computer because I have the new one over there, but I'm using my old peripherals pretty much for this computer, which is fine. Let's go ahead and open that up. So of course we have this, so Core i7, 32 gigs of RAM, pretty insane. Let's open up hardware monitor, just take a look at a couple things. So that says 1.26 because it's rounding up, but it is 1.255 volts. And then you see here is our idle temperatures, which is pretty decent. And then there's our clock speed, so it is 4.6 gigahertz, of course. And it's pretty stable. It passed 5 or 6 runs of IBT, no problem. It took a long time because of all that RAM, but yeah, we ran it at Chris's house before I left. And of course, here's my hard drive situation. I don't know why all my disk space is being used. I'll have to figure that out later. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, I don't really want to show much on the hardware side because it's just your standard Windows installation. It's nothing really special. As you can see, the board actually does light up red right there. It's got a nice red accent, so that's pretty neat. I think the theme of the build is coming together pretty nice. So yeah, I mean, that's about it for the computer build. That's all I really have to say about it, but there's just a quick little update on my 2016 PC. So see y'all later. Well, that would explain that.